I am Ian Seymour Smith, president of the Rotary Club of Tortola, and I'm here today with my mom, Doreen Smith, and my dad, Roosevelt Smith, who has been a Rotarian for over 5 decades. He was a past director of the Rotary Club of Tortola. I grew up around Rotary, watching my dad and other stalwart Rotarians, such as Clarence Thomas, Clarence Christian of blessed memory, and Anando Scatliff of blessed memory. He also sponsored my membership in the club, as well as Albie Stewart, Ralph O'Neill, Eldon Georges, Boots Walters, all of blessed memory, and numerous other Rotarians who were real men of action back in the day, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. They coined the phrase Rotary people of action. They did a lot of hands-on work. They built houses for the less fortunate. They raised funds at the famous Christmas concert, as well as the Easter Bazaar. And I would give a joke in terms of the Easter Bazaar. My dad actually won the prize, the major prize at that day, which was a Boston whaler. And I ended up taking ownership of the Boston whaler, and I sailed in that whaler to every island in the BVI except Antigua. And so that's where I honed a lot of my sailing skills on that whaler for years.
One of the fundraisers that I went off with is we had what you call it, regatta every year, Rotary regatta, right? And I was a skipper representing the BVI, because they chose me as the best, and I had to live up to the job that they gave me, and I made sure I got up my team ready, and it was 2 regattas back to back, and we won it, and they were all members of Rotary still with me on the two team that was representing the BPI.
Yeah, a lot of persons now, and even the new Rotarians wouldn't know that we actually held International Rotary Regatta here in the BVI. I went to the International Convention in Indianapolis in 1988, and I joined the Yachting Fellowship of Rotary. And then I came back and I pitched the idea to, at that time, it was the late Paul Watley, past President Paul Watley of blessed memory. And the board and the president, they agreed with the vision, and we were able to successfully plan and execute the first regatta in 1998, and then the second one in 1999. And persons who made up the team included the late Gavin Penn, a young P.P. Tom Gorker. If you see the pictures, you'll see he's like 30 years younger than he is right now. Dr. Baldwin, a lot of persons might not know him. You had Fran was on one of the teams. You had Roosevelt W., which is my brother, and he was also a member of the crew. You had Todd Downing, also a member of the crew. So at that time, we had a very exciting crew. And we also sail with persons from all over the world, persons from Germany, persons from the Caribbean, persons from the US. And the BVI did well. We represented the territory, and we did ourselves proud. I think we did so well that I think because we won the regatta so many times that they said we weren't good hosts. So I think the regatta died a natural death.
Go back to the convention, they asked, and we visit the booth, they asked, when are you having the regatta back in the BVI? At that time, we used to take an active part, and I attended a lot of the conventions. I went to Australia, I went to Spain, I went to Denmark, I went to Scotland, I went to France, and
China.
Taiwan, yeah.
And Japan.
So and when we go, we usually go to the meetings and see and know what's going on.
It was I was a young fellow just starting business. And I also was against Rotary Club in Tatona because I said only a white people thing, right? but I went with the Rotary, so I went and I walked and I followed the protocol. And I did all I could, and I realized I was doing a very good service for the people of the BVI. Although we weren't educated to that. But by doing that, I met with people like my Conrad, who was the best lawyer in the BVI, Mr. Archibald,
Clarence Christian.
Sabbath, Orlando.
Orlando wasn't. Joe, Neil, Alfonil,
Andrew Cricket, and
Steve Romney.
And I want to give help with the service. So I just jump on and get on board. But before then, they actually invited me. And because I thought we didn't have so much point in it that the black guy was different. I just didn't want to join. But I think that was kind of petty of me. I joined the Rotary. And it was working well. And not only I did, remember after a hurricane, I built 2 nearby children, which I was saying, and boat. You might know boat. So, and we did a basically on our own, without having any assistance. Some of my working assistant. And I found it to be something very good because it's so rewarding to be when I go anywhere. Sting is known to be the racing boat for Tatona, represent Tatona, and if there's somebody who Sting go, let us go. We will follow. And we build that kind of reputation, and even before we get ready to start for any race, I mean, we could have a party in terms of chatting and reminiscing of what went on last week, and whatever. So we got that kind of assurance by performance. No one did come anytime and Sting is a yellow boat, which was very favorable for racing.
Jet 24 that you used for the BVI Spring Regatta and
just a clarification, the Jet 24 and the Sting is the name of the boat that my father owned for a number of years, and my father was the best international local skipper in the territory for a number of years. He won best BVI yacht in the BVI Spring Regatta. He won prizes in Rolex as well as
Copa
Velasca in Puerto Rico. He also represented the BVI in CSC games in Venezuela as well as Puerto Rico.
Oh yeah. He also went San Francisco, across the Golden Gate Bridge.
So that's why he was tying that into representing the BVI in the Rotary International Regatta, being selected as a captain to represent the BVI team, given his experience.
When I put down one foot, Ian will put down the other one, and both will put the other one to make the turn. So it wasn't whether they want to go with me or not. First of all, it's enjoyable for them to go with me on the sea and not to race, and so on. But you want to, if I want to, is you have to go. It's part of you. It's your final thing, it's our thing. And we kept the momentum going.
We actually assisted with the construction of the houses. For example, after Hurricane Hugo, my dad was tasked through Rotary in terms of rebuilding 3 houses for senior citizens that were damaged after Hurricane Hugo. So my dad, as long as he's workman, and we tagged along. So even that instilled the spirit of Rotary as well as the need to give back to the community. And in addition to that, as he said, every weekend sailing, we were always there. So that's part of our blood. And also I recall vividly where my dad's office used to be the storeroom for all the toys at Christmas every year. you had the best toys, the Muhammad Ali toys, the Evel Knievel toys, the Barbie dolls, the punching bags. So as a young kid, imagine less fortunate kids getting just as good or better toys than you because of Rotary. So that's something to admire.
And you can't be suspect because you don't be suspect very good.
Yeah. So my dad used to go to, him and some of the other Rotarians, they used to go to Puerto Rico, they used to go to the States and buy up all of these toys and bring back just to ensure that everyone in the community, every child in the community had a gift for Christmas.
At that time, you didn't have no ladies and it didn't have those clubs. It was just the Rotary Club of Tortola, and it was a male club. And the ladies, they just walk along. But later on, with Delma and Lana, and they, because in those days it was like Brewer Mills, that's Brewer Mills from the Bermuda, Bell, Thomas, Clarence Thomas White, Enid Pickering, Alvin. So you see, we were the people at that time.
Lily Romney, Mrs. Gray, and all those, Mrs. Quickie, Emma Jane Quickie, and all those people. So none of us were Rotarians because it was a men's club. My dad also has a daughter, Faye, who is a director of Rotary Club of Sunrise of Rotown. So, and in addition to that, you also have, he has a grandson who was a former Rotary actor, Roosevelt W.R. Smith, and my two kids, Reba and Ian, they are interactors. So you have a third generation of Rotarians in this family as well.